If you are planning to exit your current job, you need to be very strategic and intelligent about it. You need to know the reason why you are leaving. Yes, most people want to leave because of salaries, but I would advise that it's better you leave for the bigger reasons. So here are some of the bigger reasons. So yeah, we'll be talking to you today about how to strategically exit your current job. It turns out that a lot of people are working in places where they are not happy about. Yeah, but before you hear me out, I might not necessarily tell you what you think you want to hear. So we're going to be delving deep into these things and talking in a diverse way around all of these matters. Yeah, so I tell people that it's quite important that you are happy at your workplace. Your workplace is not necessarily, going to make you happy. Your happiness really depends on you. It's a personal decision. However, I tell people that it's important and it's critical that you ensure that you're happy. You have no business living or staying, lasting long in a work environment that you're not happy about. I don't think that's a healthy way to live as an adult. And I advise people, you actually owe no one anything. The moment you feel that the workplace where you work does not resonate with the things that would give you your sparks, that will give you your happiness, that will make you joyful, then I think, you are arriving at that time where you need to quit. And it's so important, and you shouldn't feel guilty about quitting your job. I have had to, move or change jobs a number of times, maybe over 5 times in my career time. So I usually don't judge people if they need or find out that, they've arrived at that point where they need to leave. However, it's important that you apply a lot of emotional intelligence to plan your exit. And it's so important that you're strategic about it. So yeah, one key point that a lot of people sort of speak about is the fact that they are just not happy because of their salaries. And I tell people, nobody cheats you. Nobody's going to pay you below what you are worth. If you think you are worth, whatever, it's fine. What then happens is you can just, gravitate towards what you think you are worth and then plan your exit. I'm not going to tell you that people don't sort of earn a lot, or at the end of the day, if they change jobs, it can happen, and it does happen. However, the negative side of most of those things is that a lot of people sort of overshoot themselves, and then they go for roles that are sort of bigger than them, and then they don't succeed in those roles, and then they begin to face midlife crisis, which is they get fired, and then they're out on the streets job hunting, and then they begin to go for pay cuts, they begin to go for lesser jobs. I'm sure a lot of you must have seen those things. However, if you follow, the patterns, you follow the right route, you'll see that what happens is that you will grow into those salaries, those salary expectations that you have in mind. You will attract them, and then you can get those jobs. Why not? And you should, really, if that is what is going to make you happy. However, I'm going to sort of expatiate on that as well. I believe that a workplace is not what actually makes you happy. You as an adult is responsible for your happiness by the way you schedule your life, you plan your systems, your operational systems, and then you are able to align with, work, make a balance sort of with family, work, and all of those things, your health, looking after yourself. Putting all those things together is what can actually deliver your happiness, not just the workplace. So now people complain about their work. I'm not happy. I need to change. That company you are viewing that you want to go to, rest assured that people are also there that are not happy. The fact that you are thinking that you want to go to a certain multinational bank from a local bank doesn't necessarily mean that the people in the multinational bank are all happy. A lot of people are there that are also unhappy, either about their salaries, policies, and a lot of things. Another thing that they used to tell us in those days, in the past, and I think some schools of thought still believe in it, if you feel so really pained, working in an environment and you are not happy, you can begin to think about creating your own space and then running with those visions that you have. Give it a test run and see how it's going to work. So I tell people, you are not happy because the organization is complaining about your laziness, they are complaining about your truancy, they are complaining about your extreme poor work output and all of those things, not compliant, being compliant with the laws and policies of the organization, and then you feel sad. So what I tell people is, you know what? Why don't you just try to create your own organization, bring people in, allow them not to obey your policies, allow them to deliver poor work output, allow them to be truants, and then all of you should stay happily ever after in that way, because that is the reality. And then you see that these things are just impossible. So now I'm going to be telling us about how to be strategic about your exit, because I support it. I don't believe you must stay there. If you believe you are really not happy and you feel that you're going to be happier in this other place, I think, it's just okay for you to make that move. Why not? First thing that I think you should do is that your level of emotional intelligence has to be top-notch. It's so wrong and erroneous for you to make it obvious to your current employer that you are planning your exit. That is not wisdom. So whilst you are thinking of an exit, up until the last day that you work, you need to display utmost professionalism till the end. It's important that you do that. And this is solely because it's a small world, you might still come across each other. So it's important that the little time you worked or the time you had to work was meaningful to the organization, was meaningful to the leadership, and then, you can then separate in a lovely and peaceful way. It's very important. Now, being professional up until your last day is critical. Whereas what you see with a lot of people, they begin to display a lot of, negativities that, causes a lot of drama. You don't need to do those things. Another thing that I would advise is, instead of focusing on the fact that you have a low salary and that is why you want to leave, I think it's better to think inwards. Think about things you can do to improve your financial situation. While you work, there's a whole lot of value chain around you. Sit down, think inwards, think well, think properly, analyze things, and see what you can begin to do that doesn't hinder or, that is not detrimental to the policies of your existing job, and that doesn't come, in contact or doesn't sort of disrupt, your work time or your contract with your employer. And then you have your free time. You can do those things and improve, your financial situation. That is also another way, because going into the next pay rise does not guarantee your happiness. Yes, it's good. It's a beautiful experience. We all want it. But rest assured that it doesn't guarantee your happiness, because your lifestyle and everything will soon meet up with that. And then you begin to roll over same emotions. So you need to be mindful and careful about that. Another thing that I would like to talk to you about is, if you are planning to exit your current job, you need to be very strategic and intelligent about it. You need to know the reason why you are leaving. Yes, most people want to leave because of salaries, but I would advise that it's better you leave for the bigger reasons. So here are some of the bigger reasons. Do you have a plan? Do you have a dream? Do you have an industry plan? Do you want to arrive at the apex levels of your industry? Are you planning to become a CEO someday in your industry? What are your vision? What is your vision? What are your plans? What are your dreams and aspirations? Now, if you've been able to respond to that, some people, maximum, they want to become a head of department. That is the biggest dream they can see. You begin to chase that. From a very young, time in my career, I already desired, or I already said to myself that I was going to lead a health insurance organization in Nigeria. And I began from that time to move in that direction. So maybe that is why it's a bit easier for me. Being visionless is also a challenge. A lot of sad employees are actually visionless. Pardon me, but I have to say that. And that is what actually makes them sad, because they are unable to understand what is going on. And then they just put it upon their salary. They are unable to understand, why they are struggling financially, or why they are not at this point or this other point at, this particular time. But let me tell you the biggest reason why that is so is because they are visionless. To have a vision, it's something that is long-term. You need to have thought it. You need to be aware, and then you begin to chase it. So for myself, what I did was, coming into being a healthcare professional, by the way, I already knew what I needed. I knew what I needed to get to the top, and I knew the things I needed to do to give me a seat at the table. And it took me about 15 years to do these things. It takes time. It took me about 15 years of hard, deliberate, intentional work. It took me years of studying, acquiring more degrees, acquiring more professional certifications to get, to the top of my career, which, I really desired to get to. I planned for it and I wanted it. And of course, the universe responded to me by the grace of God, not by my power. Yeah, so that being said, if truly you have a vision that is clear, it becomes easier. Now you're at this certain organization, you already know where you want to be. All you need to do is look at the next organization that you think you should get to, study them, study the openings there. Are these the openings you want to sort of go for? What do you need to qualify for these openings? Do you have them? If you do not, what do you need to do to get them? And then you begin to search out for the interview opportunities. And of course, when going for interviews, you need to be prepared. I can remember I've had to go for an interview once. I had to, most times, not once. Most of the interviews I went for, because I always believed in the fact that if I choose and accept an invite to an interview, I have to be chosen. I have never sort of applied for a job, what's the word, without a concrete reason, without a direction or a vision. So each time I applied for a role, first off, my application is usually singled out. Why? I put in everything to write my personal statements. I put in a proper CV that speaks and resonates with the role. And then it stands out and I'm picked. Now I begin to prepare for my interview. I don't just prepare for my interview as a regular person. I prepare for my interview and ensure that I show up standing out. So if they are going to take 2 people out of 100, I have to be one of them. If they are taking one, I have to be one. I've experienced those things a number of times. So those are the things you need to put in place. You don't just sit back and then you're upset, you're sad, and you just keep complaining. Where is the next organization you wish to work? Where is the next industry you want to go to? What do you need to do to qualify for those roles? What are you doing to get yourself an interview? Do you understand? So you need to do those things. Now, after, getting yourself prepared and then you are called up for an interview, how do you ensure you are the chosen one? How do you go about your negotiations to ensure that you are not under-negotiating, you are not over-negotiating? What research have you done to know, what these roles entail, what the salaries are like, and all of those things? Did you understudy the industry? Do you have an idea of the leadership in the organization? Do you have an idea of what the people there are happy about or unhappy about? Do you know their culture? Is it something you think you can fit into? Is it something you think you can adjust into? You need to do all of those work. These are the things that make people come into organizations and within the first few months, they are lamenting, complaining, acting sad, acting disappointed. I feel particularly shocked, especially when I see senior people getting into senior new roles and then they are lamenting. I feel quite uncomfortable with that because it seems as though you actually did no research. And this is how I recognize people that just, move jobs solely because of salary. So they have come in just to earn a salary. They never bothered to know about the organization's culture, the leadership style, what the people there stand for, what their interests, points are, and all of those things, what their pain points are, what they are chasing, their vision, and all of those things. They don't care to know those things. They just delve in and they come in and they're like, oh, wow, what sort of policies are these? I've never seen them. And I'm like, oh, you're a senior person. Why are you acting this way? So I'm trying to advise today that before you make that move, do a proper research. Study things, know things. Don't just move just because of salary. I think, personally, it's actually a weakling behavior and it's a low-grade standard of life to change jobs solely because of salaries. I strongly believe that people that do that do not want to grow above the poverty level. Yeah, because if your biggest focus is your salary, then it means your dream is really limited. Your dream is really limited because you do not intend to know how to grow your finances aside from your salary. And then you can only get so much with regards to salary. You can only get so much. So I encourage, the young ones today, the youths, and of course, people in general in the career space. You need to be strategic about making a move. Don't just leap. jump just because, the salary is double and then you are moving. What's the contract like? I used to manage, so a particular multinational. I used to manage their clients at some point. And then, they felt they liked my style and they wanted to employ me. It was a multinational. I worked in an indigenous organization at the time. And I was still like a lower level staff then, many years ago. And I looked at the offer. A lot of people felt, oh, why not? I looked at the contract. I read it properly. Lo and behold, it was a contract job that outsourcing. It was an outsourced role. An organization was going to outsource me to the multinational. The salary was double. Everything was fine, but I didn't go. Some people were disappointed, but I didn't go. Why? I had a vision, guys. I knew where I was going. This was as far back as 2012, which is over 12 years ago. So you can imagine that. At that time, I already knew where I was going. I knew that going for that role, despite having 100% increase in salary, having that status of, oh, it's a multinational and all of those things, it was going to drift me away from my focus. It was going to take me away from the plan. And for that reason, I rejected the offer. 8 out of 10 people would have taken that offer today. And that is why I speak to people. You need to be intelligent about the way you make your move. You need to be intelligent about your system, about the plan you have for yourself. The organization you work for is not going to hand you your personal vision. You need to own it, guys. You need to have it. If you lack your personal vision, you are going to be a sad employee all the days of your life, even if you move into Google tomorrow. You will, and the euphoria of resumption is going to, becloud you. But as soon as you settle, after a while, it gets back. Why? You are visionless. You are empty. So it's important that you are concrete internally. It's important that you've got a vision. It's important that you know what you are chasing, what you are built for. It's important that you know your strengths, where you intend to channel them to for your life's dreams. So stop, blaming your managers. Stop blaming your employer. It's so important that you know this, guys. Your employer is not responsible for your sad, blue moments. Your employer is not responsible for your sad and blue moments. Being blue, being sad in the workplace is just a big confirmation that you are visionless. If you've got a vision, what that would do for you is you are able to view your sparks, guys. You are able to see where you are going, even though they are not close yet, even though you may not have probably the financial wherewithal to address them. You might not have the connection to meet up with them. But because you've got a vision, you are moving gradually towards it. You are at least aware of the steps you need to take to get yourself closer to your vision. And that is what enables you get your sparks. So the moment, the blues come along, maybe stress of work and all of those, instead of you to begin to lament, oh, my salary is poor, oh, I don't like the policies of this organization. What you simply do is you fall back to your vision. You have a big dream. You look at it and you say, okay, I'm getting closer. These are the things I need to do. I'm doing them. I'm on this program and I know it's taking me there. I'm on a journey. And then you say that your sparks, comes around and then you are a happy employee. You never can tell. And I tell people, you need to be aware that management is constantly watching. Management is like the big brother. They are always watching. So you might just, be there sitting pretty and you might not just have to leave. You never can tell. You might just be selected to come and sit with the people at the top just because, you are doing your best. You are putting in the effort. So yes, guys, I think that's what I have for you today. And to wrap up, exiting your current role, like I said, it's a positive thing. It has never been a negative thing. But doing it without a vision can get you into troubled waters. You need to exit your role with a plan. Don't exit your role just because of an increase in salary. It's not worth it, guys. Yes, you may be wondering, oh, what's she saying? Is that what I'm going to eat? And all of those kinds of things. Let me tell you, what you are going to eat today, if that's your focus, then you are probably not planning to exit the poverty line. If you cannot think far and put in some delayed gratification, put in some sacrifice for the future, then you might be on a long thing. So I would advise that hold on to that dream, hold on to that plan if you're planning to exit your current role. However, to summarize again, ensure that you're emotionally intelligent about it. Ensure that you're not putting up a negative energy in the workplace, in the work environment to sort of put people off. You know, you need to maintain professionalism up until the last day because relationship is key. Then you need to ensure that you have a robust vision, you are aware of, you know the steps that you need to take you to the next level so that you don't just jump because of the salary. And then when you get used to that new salary, you begin to get upset again. So you need to have a plan. If you are going to be waiting, you also need to know the financial moves to make to enable you enhance your financial systems. It can be done even while you work. Just ensure that you know you are not having a conflict of interest with your existing employer. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.